So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Donny Chaingang. My name is Matt Payne, and I'm down here in the studio, back in from the sunshine, and it was great to meet loads and loads of people at Otley, and managed to get a shout out for a few. Thank you to everybody who came and said hello, particularly to Charlie Babbitt, who stuck his head in between the stage truck and so on. So absolutely fantastic stuff. This is what we want to see. The Chaingang gets together. There's loads of pictures of people being together on the various places on Burris Lane with Beefeater Street, and even better, I managed to dive up on stage with Russ, and we actually managed to get some actual time in the real world together. Although we have been doing that a little bit over the lockdown period. It's quite simply because we've been working together, and there's just some things you can't discuss down a phone line. It just can't be done. Fortunately, we can bring you the Donny Chaingang here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne, and I am looking forward to stage number 2 of the Tour de France version of the Donny Chaingang. In tribute to the tour, we've got a program that basically matches the classic tour setup, and in one of those mad moments when you're thinking about these things, so it'd be a really good idea. We'll have a prologue TT that will really test the riders, but will be a Chaingang one. It'll go up a climb. That's pretty good. I loved it. Not so sure about Russ and everybody who was riding it. Then on top of that, we've got stage number 2 now. This is going to be a cracking stage, and we'll go into it in a bit more detail, but it's a flat out sprinter stage. Let's show you what else we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks after today as well, because we have Stage 3. Now, this is the first of 2 big mountain stages. It's an iconic mountain. It's got a tribute on it. I'm sure you can all work out. We're going up Mont Ventoux. How far we're going to go? Well, the members of the DCG gang know they get the heads up first. The normal riders who just join for the ride, well, they get to find out once they join up. Now, Stage 4, this will be the Thursday of next week, is when we cross from one mountain range to another. So, classic breakaway terrain where we've got lumps, we've got bumps. Cracking route, and really looking forward to that one. Then we're on to one of the most famous, if not the most famous climb in history of the tour, and one of my personal favourites. Is something that is always fun to ride, it's always great, and it's brilliant to see on Zwift. Then of course Stage 6, where else will we be but in Paris on the cobbles. The question is, which way round? Will we be going around the Champs-Elysees? Will it be the standard way, or will we just mix it up? Because this is the tour on the Donny Chaingang, and the aim is to keep everybody on their toes. Now, if our riders who are members of the Chaingang do manage to finish all 6 stages, then we've got some great prizes. And as an addition, the prize pot is growing. I've got to say a massive thank you to the guys at Stellaton Cycling. So the Stellaton squad have donated a bottle to everybody who finishes, as well as the Donny Chaingang one. We're going to have coffee for everybody. And just as importantly, we're going to now have some gritty socks to go to every one of the members. So a massive thank you to Caroline from Gritty. We also have some spot prizes, and those spot prizes are coming out each week. Now we have some prizes each week. Now we're going to have some coffee from Grand Tour Coffee, big bundle pack. That is going to be on week 1, then week 2, then week 3, and in addition, we've also got at the moment a set of either Oakley Sutros, Jawbreakers, or Radar EVs coming from Ian Taylor at 1080. And remember, guys, these are the guys who support the Chaingang. They support your sport, so make sure you get in to the gang. Make sure you remember, make sure you get those pictures up, and to get into the prize draw, as the members will know, got to get those pictures on the Facebook page. It's brilliant, and that's exactly what we want to see. Now, one man who doesn't need to post any pictures because he has done this in real life. It's our yellow beacon. It is the one and only Fonzie Downing. Let's see if we can grab Russ, hopefully in a very cooled pain cave, because it is roasting at the moment. So, Russ, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. The pain cave is actually quite cool. I've had the blind shut for the last few hours. Sorry, I just got a screen saying join the Donny Chaingang, and I'm already there. So
No, You join the Chaingang? Really? I can't imagine you want to do a thing like that. That's what we want to see. Good to see. We just got Cam Fraser actually just come and joined us in the Chaingang. Great to see him back. We'll see how he's going. Certainly, would he be useful in a real life flat stage like we've got for people today?
Oh, Cam definitely would. His big old pistons he's got. He's been on the bike for a good few years ago. Back a long way with Cam actually riding his juniors and things. But yeah, he's got a big engine and he goes well. When he can put the hours to say he's had a spell off the bike. I think he's changed jobs and gone back up to Glasgow. So, but yeah, I'm sure he'll still be dishing out some pain. And yeah, I hope everyone's legs have recovered from the thing. I just heard you saying about Russ don't need to post a picture. Totally feel for people who missed the screen grab at the top of the KOM and all that. It was the last thing on my mind when I was seeing stars and legs are screaming. But yeah.
Well, if you're riding a torse for an overall position, knowing what the time gaps are, keeping your wits about you as you approach the finish line is important, mate. And that's what we're impressing on the riders. That's one of the reasons that we're testing their skills when they're right on the limit. And we saw that at Otley last night, didn't we? Most of the crashes happening actually towards the end of the racing when people are tired and people are not on the ball. Fortunately, we shouldn't get that tonight.
Yeah, I suppose it's only the same as you see nowadays. As soon as the riders cross the line, they're stopping the Garmins or the Wahoos and they're like, jump. So all it is pick your screen grab up and give it a zap. So yeah.
Yep. And it can be a picture from your phone. You can pick your phone up, take a picture with that. You can get David Bailey over your shoulder to take a picture. We don't mind what it is, but it does need to show your avatar on there. The exact rules are actually gone out to the members, which is exciting. That is what we want. Now, this is going to be a really flat sprinter stage. Let's whiz through this. We've got a few minutes to do that. So why don't we go across? I'm going to leave you online if I can, Russ, because... what we'll do, we'll run through this together. Now, this is a Deuce France, and the map hopefully is going to just ping up. Here we go. Now, this is a really tricky one, isn't it? Because we start up the gorge with the 0.0k leading, and that's going to be tricky to hold everybody together.
Yeah, it's going to be even trickier for me, actually, because I've just looked up, and I've got 2 Donny Chaingangs tonight. For some reason, and it's just dropped me back in. And I know it said let's go. It's just dropped me back in, and there was only me and someone else there. So,
and that's going to be very entertaining. Then that could be you and quite literally you in a world of your own. That could be fun. So up the climb, which is the gorge, and then onto the flatlands around the Ballon Sprint. A slight climb over the aqueduct, and then it's a long flat run, about 14k flat back. Now it's 24.1k each lap. We're doing it twice, and then we've got the roll down to the beacon. And if you are having a hard time, or if Russ manages to die a million deaths, then he's going to be seeing Chris Darby and Chris holding our red beacon duties. And thank you to all of our volunteers who've done that. Let's see just how likely he is to find people. Russ, this is basically flat, isn't it? If you see the Velo Viewer, it's got hardly any profile. Most of the time I'm wishing we had a taller screen and it was the other way around, more portrait than landscape, but today it's ideal for this profile.
Yeah, I'm just actually fighting with tech at the minute, Matt. I've just deleted everything. I'm going to try and join this Chaingang, because I don't know what was happening, but hopefully we've got a couple of minutes to spare.
1 minute 46. Well, I'll tell you what, Russ, you sort your tech and I'll just finish off the profile if I'm not coughing to death. I think a lot of people will know I was on the mic over at Otley and still got a sore throat from that. I did sound like a cross between Barry White, Chris Rea, whilst gargling sandpaper this morning. So pretty tough stuff post that. Even the usual trick of ice in the throat not working. So going to be interested to see how it holds up. If you hear background music, you know what. It's because I'm absolutely struggling. Now, it is really warm. It's great to see everybody here. It was great to see people on the Chaingang. But tonight, nicer and flat. It is pancake flat, effectively. The first climb up coming from the start. It's a slight rise through the gorge. Tricky to keep everybody together mid-ride, never mind at the start. Then out and in. And a bit like you see on the early stages, we're expecting it to be hard from the start to keep everyone together, and that's exactly what we see on the Tour. Then round the bell on sprint, out towards the right-hand side of your screen, up onto the climb, the high point of the ride, and then that long flat run. And essentially, you've got in excess of 14k flat right the way back through the island to get back in again. Now that means it is going to be really interesting to see where the red goes. So Russ just sorting the tech out. He should be rejoining in a second. I'm sure if he doesn't, we've got enough experienced hands to hold it together until he does jump in and join. And just keeping a check on here, the aim of this is going to be to hold it really, really steady on the start. If it doesn't happen on the start, then we won't get it back together again. So it's critical, guys, you hold it together. On the way through at the moment, Russ still shown as being logged out of basically everything. So looks like the gang are on their way. We're going to jump in with Ian Taylor first of all. So as the ride gets underway, just keeping an eye on Intel. It looks like problems for the yellow beacon from the start, and let's hope that everybody's going to keep it together. We're just riding with Ian. Ian, of course, one of our key sponsors and supporters of the Donny Chaingang. And if we go jump up in the sky, you can just see everybody just holding it around at the moment. The aim is to be holding it around that red beacon, and as you can see, we have already set off onto the roads. Now we head down, then we're going to go for a right hand turn. It's going to be super slow until we get to get Russ back in, who is desperately trying to join rather rapidly here. So it looks like everybody holding out on the red beacon. Brilliant to see. Now, remember, we do have plenty of people who have been looking after the Chaingang. We've got to say a massive thank you to them. The spirit of the Chaingang is absolutely superb, and it's exactly what we want to see. So whilst we're waiting for the gang to get itself back together, let's jump in with the Donny Chaingang. Me, Matt Payne, live here on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel. So here we go, we're back in. A quick jump in with the Chaingang here, because it looks like Russ has made it back in a tech blip, and looks like a mechanical issue for Russ. I don't know. Anyone would think he was trying to avoid the long, fast, flat straight. So let's take a little bit of a jump out and take a little bit of a look at the Chaingang here. And looks like we're already just headed in up towards the gorge, and almost everybody together. Looks like a few stragglers behind, just late joining as we take the turn into the gorge. So this is going to be all about making sure everybody gets in with the riders really, really quickly here. You're going to need to get the gang together. The front does need to ease off. We're still waiting for riders to come in. You can see plenty of people pushing at 2.5 to nearly 3 watts per kilo on the front, and they're going to need to back right off at the moment. That start is a tricky one, and as we said, the gorge is a really hard place to be if we don't pull people together very quickly. Now, it is Chris Darby who is our beacon. We're just going to go jump in with him with a bit of luck. Let's have a little look. So here we go, in with our beacon, and we are just going to see just how he is getting on at the moment. It's looking like he's on his own. Just see Sonia Inslee shoot past there. Let's take a little bit of a look. If we use the helicopter here, just watching for riders behind. I think at least one rider coming in behind Chris. Let's drop in. So Andy Scullin pushing on. He's about 4 seconds behind. Still a few people trying to catch on here. So they've got about 21 seconds to the yellow beacon. That means that Russ needs to slow it down big style at the moment, because guess what? Our riders are working at the back already, and we're about a third of the way up the gorge, so we could do with a few riders coming back. Looks like Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, dropping back, and maybe he's getting his excuses in early by trying to drop back a little bit. So just waiting to see Andy Scotland, Chris Darby, looks like Goddard just up the road, Sonia Inslee as well. So hopefully we are going to get a group dropping back. Let's jump in with Craig Herring here. And I think Craig just easing off the pedals there. He's got Liam Callaway with him as well. And we're just seeing here yet fat cyclist Gareth Mason's gone for the full Darth Vader look as well. And they are soon going to see this is the gang coming up behind. They're going to be on the heels now. And now they're going to push on masse. And it's going to be a big group. So Mr. Herring does need to give it a bit of gas now, because it looks like the gang are quickly moving up. We're trying to track around the gorge to try and get them back together again. So it's Callaway and Herring now who need to push. So you can just see this group that were waiting to pull people in now starting to wind it up at the back, the gang working together. And this is exactly why we love the chain gang, because it's all about getting riders together, keeping everybody together. It's all about the gang working together for the benefit of everybody. Now, if you are watching this, don't forget, of course, we have some great riders on here who will be showing us their legs and just how fast they're going a little bit later on. As you can see, it looks like most people just about getting Mr. Finney. Good to have you on the Donny Chaingang, and looks like he's managing to jump in. That's exactly what we're looking for. Just seeing a little bit of a drop out here for at least one of our riders here on 0 watts per kilo. That's not what you want to see at this stage in the game. So just looks like a full-on tech dropout. That's at 0 watts per kilo, and now pushing on upwards again. So we will see Chris, I think, not needing to wait for them. He can just work with tickers here. So Mark Tickhill was just seen he's been out and about, out with the family, and looks like Mark just working with Chris Darby here to get back in towards the bunch. Let's jump back in with Russ now, and Russ just keeping everything under control. It's all about keeping the group together, particularly up this section of the climb. And as we look up, we can see the guys starting to roll out. It starts to unwind itself as we go up along this straight here in towards the bends around the Ballon Sprint. So the riders are up and cresting the top. The red beacon still working behind. There are people working together. So it's like Luke Handley pushing back in. Luke had a proper drop out there, so we'll see if he pops a message up to tell us why he was distanced. So that red beacon just working its way on tickers, just trying to work back into the group. You can see our helicopter shots. Here we are in France for stage 2 of the Donny Chaingang with me and Matt Payne. And if you don't recognise the voice, it's because it's rather croaky after a really exciting night on the mic out in Ollie. Great to see so many people in real life. Now, you can see the Ballon Sprint banner, the arch, just at the very top of your screen, alongside adjacent to the balloons in the field. We've got a big loop to do first as we head out along. At the moment, pretty much all of the gang holding together. Trying to make sure that we don't get too many flyers off the front really early. There's no need to push on at this stage. You need to be saving your energy, and as you can see from the screen at the moment, our riders, it's so warm, I think they feel like they are riding in treacle. So Russ looking like he's got it back under control, and as you can see the chain gang moving well. The balloons are flying up in the skyline, and Russ and all of the gang are working their way in through, and soon going to be heading off towards the turning for Mont Ventoux. So we're going to have the pleasure of visiting next week on the Chaingang. But from that Ballon Sprint, you can see pretty much all the gang together here. So just jumping back up with the helicopter. You can see the gap's probably a little bit better with the helicopter shots, because in France most of the time it's quite exposed. You can just see how it's moving well out there. And certainly it looks to me like it is working well for the riders. So yeah, looking pretty good from my point of view and my viewpoint. The red's still chasing on at the back, so already there are riders just feeling the pace. We knew this would be the case. So let's have a little bit of a jump around here. Now, one man who had problems on Tuesday, and gotta say, an absolutely fantastic job done by Crosscast Neil from Gritty. Of course, was infamous, I think, on Tuesday for getting a puncture halfway up, fixing the puncture, and then jumping back on again. In fact, if you watch his screen, you can see there was a power dropout, and that was quite simple because Neil had to get off, change the rear tyre, put a new rear tyre in, and then continue his ride. Proper full-on tour stuff, but finish the stage nevertheless, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. So Neil from the Crosscast, definitely one of the heroes of the hour. Good to see Tim Cooper, who's here down at Otley, and Tim and George riding well. We've seen Ian Taylor already. Ian, of course, the man behind the 1080 promotion, and one man who had a good day on Tuesday, that is AD Dench. Now, AD was sat in the hot seat. He was at the fastest time, and looks like he's going well at the moment. So AD up here, he has a really quick time. I think you see Chris Ball in here, Keith Richardson, Mr. Finney sitting around the gang, Andy Hawes is in here, and just keeping a little bit of a check back here. And Brown just going back for tickers at the moment. So looks like we're going to get Sherwood Pines rider. That's going to be Kieran Brown, just going back for tickers at the moment. He's got Liam Calloway, Craig Genther, and Jeff Saysell also just sitting at the back of the bunch, waiting to give people a little bit of a ride up. So just keeping an eye on the riders a little bit further. Carl Johnson's here, Carl pushing, just keeping himself alongside that yellow beacon. The riders are working. So it looks, just keeping a look to the right. So the message coming through from Mark Tickle is that he is doing okay, but he's not staying on long. So it looks like Kieran Brown can push onwards, as can Liam Calloway. Good for Mark. Good of Mark to tell everybody he's just going to do his own ride, and that's what we like to see now. That means that Kieran Brown can push upwards if he wishes to. I'm not sure whether he will do. It's always one who was happy to ride off the back, then work his way in once again. So our riders well underway, and you can see weaving the way through the roads of France. Great to see so many riders already moving well. So the Vontu in the distance. We will be climbing up the Vontu. The question on the minds of non-members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, is how far up are we going? The question on the minds of the members of the DCG gang, the DCG gang members, is, well, I know how far it is. Why haven't you joined the gang? It's really easy. All you need to do is to donate. If you donate and you are a rider that we feel would benefit being a member and benefit the gang by you being a member, then we will invite you in to join the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Not everybody makes the cut, and we do look after the members. One thing we don't tolerate is anybody abusing or bringing the gang down, and we will take steps to take people out if they do slip in, or if we give them the benefit of the doubt and they don't fail to adhere to the standards that we want. At the end of the day, Russ and I do this to give everybody something to enjoy, and so many people got such a great sense of community out of it, and it's amazing to see just how well everybody looks after each other, and that's what we want to see on the Chain Gang. The whole point of this is to get people through those tough times and to get people out and riding, and it's so good to see. Look at the gang. It is superb at the moment. It's the middle of summer. It's blazingly hot out there with 70 riders who are all looking after each other, blobbing up, working as a group together. Absolutely amazing to see, and brilliant to see them out and riding on the second stage of the Tour de France tribute of the Donny Chaingang. So just seeing Kieran Brown in the green, just moving his way up onto the back. It looks like the familiar gold and green of Kai Hurst on the front of the game, just ticking along at about 2.5 watts per kilo, 2.3 in fact for Kai, as he rolls along. Sonia Inslee after a nice easy ride. Let's see if we can pick up with Sonia. She's a rider who we know has been working hard yesterday out in the real world. She was on the hill climb out at Longston Edge, so hopefully didn't do too much work on those hills, so at least it is nice and flat today. So here we go, let's see if we can zoom in on Sonia now. Sonia, we've put in a great performance on Longston Edge, one of the regular time trial riders for the Bolsover and District Gang, and was out hill climbing yesterday, did a great job then. Just sat on the front of the gang, continuing to push onwards here. So it looks like Sonia in the front of the gang working well, and great to see all of our riders. And Sonia and Caroline Mansfield both rode on Tuesday, both members of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and both eligible for the prizes that are going to be up for grabs during the course of the full 3 weeks of the tour on the Donny Chaingang. I do think it's really interesting to see the times. Caroline went up there, put in a good time, but then all of a sudden we saw Sonia Inslee really showing her time trial pedigree and absolutely smashing up the climb. So at the moment it's 1-0 to Sonia. We'll see if Caroline's going to get her own back in the gang today. And I've got to say a massive thank you to Caroline and the Gritty Gang. Socks going out to every one of our finishers in the DCG gang who finish all the 6 stages, all 6 stages, for all the things to get that prize package, and all of the rules are basically in the members' emails. So the gang riding together nicely, just keeping an eye. We just actually jumped in with Cameron Mason, not Cameron Mason, sorry, Cam Fraser. It's been a busy night. So Cam Fraser's back in, and a little bit older than Cam Mason on that blue Tron bike there, and Cam looks like he's running pretty smoothly. Let's take a look at his stats. 110 beats per minute, 118 watts. So let's have a little look. So Mr. Richardson is in here riding well. Just a quick heads up, if you are watching, if you're going to type something that is a spoiler, don't do it, guys. There are people who have been at work all day, maybe not as lucky as you, have managed to isolate themselves from the results, maybe would be watching it at the end of the tour. So if you are on the group, try and avoid them. It just makes life easier for everybody. If you know the result, enjoy what happens. If you don't, then don't tell anybody else. You don't want people to avoid the chain gang just so they don't see what happened in a race in France when they are out and riding now. So let's have a little look. Looks like Briggs in here, Richardson in here, our red beacon sat nicely in with this group as well, and just moving on well. So it looks like Russ just calling to take the watts per kilo up a little bit here, up to 2.5 watts per kilo. Same on the King of the Mountains, which you can just see coming up. You know, you see the straight section over the river in front, and that means that's where we are going to be heading when we get to the King of the Mountains. It's only a little King of the Mountains, so as we drop those stats down, just keeping an eye on our riders at the moment, just starting to stretch out a little bit. Now, this is a road that we do regularly in the opposite direction as part of RGV or Caspass, and the Aqueduct climb the opposite direction does have a habit of breaking the group apart. Hopefully that's not going to be the case today. You can see our riders at the moment pretty much all together. It certainly looks like they are riding nice and smoothly. If we pull the map back in again, you'll just see we've got a few turns to do before we run into the climb itself proper and up over the bridge. You can see the arch in the distance. So our drone doing a dual purpose, multi-purpose job of skimming the grass down here in France. Our riders now working well together, just going to be coming up towards that climb. riding in with our red beacon, just watching what's happening towards the back of this group. Looks like Andy Scotland just getting a little bit of an issue. They're just dropping out again. Mr. Gillespie is in here. So Gillespie just getting distanced a touch. So looks like a drop out for Eddie Scotland, 0 power there, and drop. So the gaps have opened up. So it looks like the gang are on the way up this climb. Just doing a little check on the numbers on the way up there. Although there were gaps opening up, all of our riders on the front were actually under the limit of 2.5 watts per kilo. It's only now that we're starting to see people move up. So little bit of confusion because we've got numbers and a location to go for. And to remember, Russ gets to choose the pace. That's why he is the beacon. So we're getting differences in speeds because the watts per kilo doesn't work when it comes to aerodynamic. You'll get a worse bite, you'll get dropped out, and you'll get moved about. I think the gang need to just chill a little bit, guys. Just relax into the group, but don't worry about the limit as long as everyone comes back. If we say 2.5 and people are doing 2.5, they can't do much more than that. So here we come in towards the sprint town, and just keeping an eye on our riders as we come in and through. You just see the red beacon having his work cut out here. Chris Darby just holding back a little bit here for Gillespie, and just seeing the shape of Kieran Brown come absolutely pummeling through the straight there. So Kieran Brown has gone from the back to get a fast sprint time. He knows the score. He's not going to go off the front, but he's going to put a quick time in now. He's come rocketing through the sprint in down here, and looks like Kieran Brown is likely to have taken that time. Let's pop them back up. Yep, he has done. And you know what? He's still not made it back into the bunch yet. That's what we love to see. So our riders regrouping after the sprint. Kieran starting to make his way in. We've got some flowers on the side. The group just starting to come back together. And that's what we want to see now. Let's take a look at our beacon behind. Looks like Chris Darby currently sitting at 5 seconds down, putting in a big effort here to get back on again. The red beacon just waiting to see what's happening with Gillespie sitting at 2.1, so can't see that 2.5 clearly, and just getting distance, but he's going to get company because Anthony Scotland is pushing on here after those dropouts, so he's going to be up and in there. Pretty smooth out there, and that's what we want to see. The group pretty much all together, just riding in with Kai, who's in that main group, just rolling around inside the main bunch. Looks like Mr. Catley's in there, Pillsworth's in there, Richardson's in as well, 80's in this group, and just taking a look, Mr. Darby making it back in, which means it's only Andy Scotland and Mr. Gillespie are just out of the back. So just seeing everybody making the way through the screens, and great to see our riders in here. Don't worry about people getting wound up on the chain. Everybody gets wound up. We all love the chain gang. I think we can agree. Absolutely every single person on the ride tonight absolutely loves it. And that is what we want to see. We do know people care passionately about it and want it to stay together. And do you know what? We love every single one of you for it, because you are the guys that keep it together and keep us all rolling. Great to see so many great faces on here, and great to see so many people joining the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Without you guys, to be honest, it wouldn't be worth me and us doing it. We have absolutely loved every minute. We've got no intentions of stopping. And I think we do all care so much about it. We could all get carried away given half a chance, that's for sure. And do you know what? It happens. If we didn't care, it'd be really boring, wouldn't it, really? Just, be like in a vacuum of nothingness. As it is, ride is all pretty much all together. Russ just working his way up on to the back of the group. And just keeping an eye on it. It's looking pretty good. So looks like yellow. That's like Russ just having a little bit of a drop back, just having to do a little bit of multitasking, I think, at the moment. He's in his own little world at the moment. So Russ, let's have a little look. We've got his numbers up on screen. Let's have a little bit of a check. Let's see where he's at. So here we go. 114, Russ. What's going on? He must be pushing it back on again. Yep, he is. Look at that. Here he comes. So Ross just pushing his way back into the group. Fraser jumping in with him. Craig Genther. Tim Cooper's back there. Just seeing the shape of Rob Osman. Looks like Mason not too far away. Bash is in there, and everyone. So just got a message in from Russ saying his heart rate. So I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. It's really hot, and you can see that there are a lot of quite high heart rates, and it is a well-known thing that if your heart rate is going up when it's hot, it's gonna go up pretty heavy duty to get the heat up. Means your heart rate goes up, means your watts go down. Heart rate drift is a horrible thing to have. It can happen to anybody and everybody, and it generally happens on hot days like this today. But looks like we're all going to make do with fans, and just keeping our cool. Good to see everybody in the pack, keeping it nice and steady. Great to see. Now we're on this long flat run in. This is really steady stuff on the way now through, and we don't need to worry about what's going on around us too much, because you can see Mont Saint Michel in the distance. This is going to be the dress rehearsal for the run back in. Now, this is a really flat scene. You can see that there's basically nothing around our riders, just focused in on Keith Richardson at the moment as this group comes in and through, and it is looking superb. So a nice pack of riders all together. Everybody's working well together here into the Mont Saint-Michel replica here on Zwift, past the tractor that seems to be growing out of the tree. There's a tree growing out of the front of the tractor. It's clearly somebody falling asleep at the wheel. No danger of that happening here today on Zwift. The ride, no doubt, going to get faster and faster. The question is, on stage 2 of the Tour de France tribute of the Donny Chaingang, are our riders going to end up working like a pro tour team and working together, or is it all going to fracture into ones and twos with some big chases? Will the pack hold together on the run into the finish line? It's not going to be long before we find out, because we're already well on our way around the circuit. The clock is ticking on. If we pull up the screens, we just taking a little look at Russ's distance here. 17.5k. Remember, it's 24.1 for the first lap and subsequent lap. It's basically the same distance as 0k of leading effectively, because although we don't come in and through a line, it's basically exactly the same distance to come in and take that right hand turn. So just keeping an eye. It looks like the man from Sherwood Pines just rolling around at the back here. Mr. Gillespie still working well here. He's not all that far behind our beacons, and Andy Scullen, well, he's closing, but he's not yet at the shoreline where Gillespie's just heading at the moment. The main group here, Mr. Herring, just sat on the back of the pack, and Craig put a great video out. Massive thanks to Craig for that, of putting the video up for the pacing on the climb on the way up the Bologna TT. There's a prologue TT, doing a great job with that and contributing to the gang, and great to see that. And interesting to see that his time, it looked like he'd put a better pace in than Mr. Coleman, but I think we had problems of dropout for Coleman, which meant he came very, very quickly at the end, but could have put in a time potentially that would have challenged the fastest time up. The fastest time, though, was Ryan Crawley, a 14:44. Sonia Inslee with a 20-minute time for the women, and that is all about riding fast and getting the pacing right. It's very rare that we run a time trial. It's the very first one we've done. I don't think it'll be the last one we end up doing, but it may well be. It's only run as a special, little bit more work in the background. As a rider, it's nice and simple. Although we did get a nice early night, I must admit. I can't say too much about it, because did manage to actually get some tea last night on Tuesday night, which makes a change. Very different to last night, which when we pulled back up at home at 2 o'clock in the morning after Otley. Lots of Donny cycling coach riders out in force at Otley, and looks like plenty of people riding strongly out here. So Jess Cecil and Kieran Brown just a little off the back of the group at the moment. So just watching the guys keeping on, pushing on back into towards the back of the group. So some good work being done here. So Brown working well. Looks like pretty much everybody coming back together again. We're going to go up on towards the first of the bridges here that bring us across on onto the island. And now we'll be coming back off once again, but looking good at the minute. And you can see the bridge just in the distance across from the riders. If we get our camera up in the 80s, we're going to be coming back across that bridge in a minute. Pull the map back in, and we'll take a look at this. Wiggle our way around the island. You'll remember that from the Velo Viewer graphic and from the Zwift Hacks map that we use. Massive thank you, of course, to Velo Viewer and, of course, the gang. And if you can't hear me over the cobbles, do you know what? Welcome to real life. So over the bridge we come, and we've got the island to do, and then we're going to be back in again. Surprised I've got any voice left and you can hear me at all after the weekend. Let's have after the last couple of days, let's have a little chat with Russ. I think he's looks like he's back in there. He's concentrating. Let's see how concentrated Russ is. How are you doing, Russ?
Okay.
It's been a bit busy on the way in, but it's an interesting route. I have to say, it's not my favourite route for the Chaingang to ride, but it does match the Tour profile for an early week 1 stage, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was grippy through that gorge, you know, when people were squeezing on, and then, you know, a little strung out on the KOM. But yeah, it's settled down a bit now. Like I say, I think caffeine's wore off, or the OTE gels or whatever. So people are calming down now. They've got rid of the old crit jitters, and they're getting on with it.
Exactly, and that's it. I mean, the Chaingang probably can. We're not losing anybody off the back of the gang. Everybody's just trying to hold it all together, and you can see as we flick through the screens, the numbers are all nice and steady, aren't they? And they're rolling around the gang, and probably the man having to do the most work is you, because you're having to multitask.
I need a PA or something, mate. You know how it is. You sometimes get M to come in, but yeah, Bruce is rubbish. He's just outside sunbathing, really.
Yeah, I must admit, the trail dog, some people went and met down at Otley. He's been flaked out all day, but it might have just been because he was a dirty stop out when he got in at 2 o'clock in the morning like I did. So it was definitely a late night, but great to see so many Chaingang riders. I know you bumped into quite a few.
Yeah, bumped into a few people. I was getting called all sorts last night, you know. Russ, Mr. Downing, Bear, Fonzie. I was like, oh, that's like kept putting different coats and disguises on just to sneak in and out of the act. But no, it's good. It's a good night. You know, I met quite a few people who we've not met in real life, so yeah, it's good. And there's a few shout outs on the microphone. Cheers for that, mate.
Well, you don't have to do it occasionally. You did end up coming back up on the stage as well. So we're well through the island. We're coming towards the end, and you're not going to be able to talk about this running when we come to do it next time round, I'm sure. Any thoughts on how you would play this if you were going just for a straight win? Because it is going to suit a big power rider, isn't it?
I'd just sit on Gareth Mason and let him do the works.
So Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist on his screen name, it is his sort of course, isn't it? He's a big guy, and we know he can put out massive watts in a big wattage bomb, as the saying goes, and that could well be what's going to happen.
Yeah, you know, it's just, like I say, as soon as we call the old famous 3 words, it'll just be who dares wins, and probably attack after attack, and then see who's left at the end. I think how far we got after that Aqueduct KOM to the finish?
14k, 15k from the Aqueduct or so, but that's way late. That's far too easy to call in there. I reckon it's you 10k of bumps and you've got 14k of flat. So 14k of flat, you should be able to pull anyone back.
Yeah, you never know though. But it's easy after all, so anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely, and anything can indeed happen. Let's see what's going to happen. So let's jump back into the Chaingang. Russ, we're going to let you get a breath back, ready to regroup everybody on the finish and just run through the finish.
All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers, buddy. So good to catch up with Russ there. And as he says, his tactic would be to sit on Gareth Mason's wheel. Let's see if we can find the wheel that Russ suggests. Everybody sits on him, everybody sits on him. It's going to be hard work him towing everybody round, that's for sure. You would know, being Tech Day, that when we search for the man himself, that he disappears out of sight and goes to the heights at the other end of the bunch. So here we go, Mr. Mason. It should be coming into view very shortly, so let's have a little bit of a look on the screens. Let's jump in with Mr. Mason. So this is the man with the target pinned on his back, metaphorically, the man in the Darth Vader helmet, and just sat there in the red and black kit, and he is the man they are all going to be looking to beat. This is the run in though, for our riders, and there's not many indicators on the way in. If you watch the map on the top of the screen, to the top right hand side of the screen, you're going to see that the gantry is going to come. It's going to come in on around the right hand bend. We'll leave it on 3D because it's going to give us the best view. Now this is where people are looking for landmarks, because as you come rolling down, you're going to come in. It's a long sweeping left hand bend with very little in the way of landmarks to use as you come in and through, and because of that, that makes it really hard to roll in. So you come in knowing where to get your sprint just right. Now it's 0.34, so 340 meters of sprint from the moment we go over the green line, which Gareth is about to do now. You see the beacon on the right hand side, so that's 340 meters, a long way out to roll in, but as you see, it's pancake flat, but you don't see the gantry until it's too late. So this is a really good practice run for the riders in. They get to see where the gantry is going to be, they can see just what those turns are going to be, and as you can see, the Zwift inflatable popping up on the left hand side. You can see the gantry coming up in front of the riders, and hardly any time. Remember, at the moment we're doing 40 kph. We expect that to be a full-on sprint at near 60 kph as we come in to the finish, and you can see just why it's so hard for the riders with that gantry. It's going to be really tricky stuff. So who is going to be able to take it out when it really matters at the end of the stage? Stage 2 of the Tour de France tribute here on the Donny Chaingang, and stage 2, of course, one of those classic flat sprinter stages coming into the coastal town after weaving its way through some tight French lanes to make life interesting for the riders, and we're going to soon be turning on to those very shortly indeed. So the riders at the moment on the way up the climb out of town, away from the shoreline, and heading up on towards the first of the turnings in towards the Gorge Road, and that is when things start to get a little trickier as we come in and through. The riders just on the back of town at the moment. So sharp right, and then you can see the left onto the more department type of road rather than the national road. In fact, it's almost beyond a department road in front of it, very similar to a lot of the things that we go training on over the summer, when we all can. Our riders now taking that sharp left turn onto that even narrower, more badly surfaced bit of tarmac, and heading up in towards the gorge. Most of the group all together at this stage, which is what we want to see. So just to answer a couple of questions, the Chaingang isn't a race, so there are no overall times. We're rewarding everybody who finishes and gets their pictures up onto the Facebook page. Full rules are in the email going to members. And just to remind everybody, you do need to post those on to the Facebook page of the Donny Chaingang. That post will be open immediately we get to the end of today. Riders at the moment looking good out there. We're on to the twists and turns on the way up the gorge, and looks like not too much damage being done at the back. One or two riders just starting to be distanced as we push on in towards the climb. So the Marina Sprint is the finish when we get in and through. Andy Scollin already through that. Gillespie just making his way in, and Russ just putting the call in now to take his lead. Looks like Chris Darby behind. Looks like Mr. Fraser just dropping off the back, as is Flynn and Ferron here at the moment. As we go on to this gradual climb up here, you can see the percentage between 2 and 3% most of the way. Then a quick drop down, then a quick climb up. Our red beacon sat behind Downing at the moment. Russ calling up for the pace to lift slightly at the minute. So Russ sitting at the back of the pack, just watching Russ making his way up through the gush. It looks like that group is fracturing a little on the front, just up in the air with our helicopter at the moment. So for those of you taking part in the competition, remember the easy way to find the thread to pin your pictures on, that is to go onto the search button right hand side of the topics bar of the drop down menu. So go beyond, about, discussion, announcements, rooms, topics, members, events, media and files. To the far right hand side you'll see a little magnifying glass, that's your search feature. On the Facebook page you'll see in there, when you click it, a bar open up. If you type in stage 2 photos, oddly enough the thread will come out and up, and you'll be able to post on there at the end of the ride. So just riding in with the main chain gang, pretty much everybody all together, just working our way back through the gang with 1-2 in the distance. Looks like Chris Darby now having to work with the gang at the back here. Russ just making sure the numbers tally up at the front. Looks like Jim Flynn and Sean Ferrin now distanced, and looks like Chris Darby going back to do a bit of work with Sean and with Jim potentially on the run in, just in front. Just seeing Kerr here from Epworth, just off the back of the pack here, as the pace on the front has been called by Russ. Scott to 3 max. Looks to me like Russ keeping it nice and smooth here. Just jump in with Mr. Donny, 104 beats per minute. His heart rate drops a little bit. The temperature maybe is just dropping down a little. Looks like Sonia and Caroline both still in this group here. Just jumping back up in the sky, still a very compact group of compactor, that is for sure. They are absolutely jammed together, and that's what we want to see. So over the top of the climb out of the gorge they've come. They're now into the rolling flatlands prior to the town sprints and the pave sprint and the aqueduct climb. But as you can see, still rolling up and down 3 and 4%, 29k covered, and that means we've got just over what is going to be 13 to 14k left. It does vary a little bit depending on the speed of people's processing power. So the group are well together. The riders coming under the shadow of Mont Ventoux very shortly, and just looks like this increase in pace is just putting a few people in trouble around the back of the group. Just riding in with Holmes at the moment. And, Holmes on disc wheel and deep front to get the best aerodynamic advantage. That was definitely would have been my choice had I been riding. I'd be not worrying about the climb so much, but definitely worrying about keeping that aero advantage in there. It's about being able to get up to pace and sitting in there. But Holmes at the moment are 1 second behind the group and being distanced here, and it could well be that Holmes has gone pop here. He's at 1.8, 1.9 watts per kilo. I suspect that means that he's going to be seeing Chris, Sean Ferrin, Jim Flynn there. So it looks like Darby and Ferrin working well together. Holmes now just got 4 seconds. You see just how quick this gap goes out. Langmead is just about hanging on in here, and you just see the little figure in the distance, and that is Holmes, who has been distanced out here. So it looks like Holmes just been dropped off the back of the group, but there are people behind to chase with. Just jumping in with Russ. Russ just sat in that pack. Mr. Steve's in there, Langmead's in there, Osmond, Dr. D's in, Mr. Bolt is in here, Mr. Cannon in as well. So Dan Coleman in here. Hopefully Dan's not going to have any dropouts today. Definitely had a good ride on Tuesday as the balloons start to make their way up into the sky. So Caroline with the fastest time in the women through the Ballon sprint, but basically, as you can see, there's hardly anything in it. 300ths of a second means the two riders are basically running through at the pace on the back. In the men's, Kieran Brown putting a storming time by riding off the back of the group. That's the place to do your sprint. If you are going to sprint on the Chaingang, make sure you go off the back and then come back onto the front of the group. At the furthest, most people manage to get the sprint in behind, and that's exactly what we saw from Mr. Coleman. So Caroline and Sonia, nothing to choose between them again on the Aqueduct QOM. And it looks like Mr. Fraser and Dan Coleman both in that 45-second bracket, and again not going off the front of the Chaingang. But the pace most definitely picking up as we go through the Ballon sprint here. And you can just see it's getting just that little bit quicker each time we see the riders, and personal best times. So we're going to see a whole raft of new fastest times, and 16.76 this time from the guys there, and people getting a lot closer. Cam Fraser at 15.801, much closer to the times before. There is indeed some panicking going on, that's for sure. So Mason there in the red and black, he is the man who's likely to be up there. But will he be the one? Just keeping an eye on these riders. They head in towards the lavender fields in the background. But certainly it looks to me like this group is well together. So the aim being 3 watts per kilo max at the moment, and that's definitely what Russ is getting. So you'll see Mr. Ambrose in here going really well, and another member of our Donny Chaingang supporters club, the DCG gang. Don't forget, if you're a member of the gang, make sure you click onto those emails. Lots of discounts coming up, and of course some great prizes from our sponsors as well, our supporters. And as we say, make sure you support the people who support your sport, because they are helping us out week in, week out, to make sure that we get everybody as much value for being a member of the gang as well. Remember, the way it works is that you are donating, and by donating either for the month or for the year, you may find yourself invited to be a member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. If you are a member, then you get the links directly to your inbox, and you will find yourself getting invites onto the Facebook page, etc., if you're not already on there. So just keeping an eye on the riders, looking pretty good. Caroline Mansfield from Gracie, one of our key supporters, on the back of the group, only about 4 or 5 off the back here. So May 5, she needs to just push on a little bit. It's going to drop back towards Caroline. Caroline just rolling along here in the orange, white and black, a traditional strip which is on the Chaingang, and sat in the pack. So we're really interested to see how Caroline goes today. Caroline's one of our lighter riders, so won't be an immediate advantage on the way along the flatlands, but big advantage is if you are a lighter rider, you're able to sit in on the flatlands. You're not going to work anywhere near as hard on the uphill sections. Will that be the case? Well, we're soon going to find out. 35k done. Well, we had 50k total, 48k was the expectation for the ride, 15 or so k to go, just waiting. Russ just yo-yoing up and down, just making everybody work hard. Let's see what's going to happen as we continue onwards here. We're going into town once again. So always very entertaining. The riders all getting twitchy, all wondering when it's going to go. It's ramping up, it's getting a little bit quicker. Good to see our riders getting a real workout. Looks like the gang's starting to feel the pace. This is a long time to be holding at the watts per kilo. I think Russ feeling in a mean mood today and really making everybody work hard. We're now on the way into the aqueduct climb and going to be on the way up to the top of that, and just starting to see people at the back feeling this sustained pace. And that is what really does start to weigh you down. You may be able to hold the watts per kilo for a fraction, maybe hold it for 30 seconds, maybe hold it for a minute, but when it goes on minute after minute after minute, that is when we start to see the damage being done nearer the back of the group. And certainly it looks to me like the group is starting to fracture at the back. Stevens now starting to be distance, just seeing him going off the back. The danger zone is down here, so let's take a little bit of a look. Looks like Caroline Mansfield on this climb, just having to fight to stay on. Looks like she's going to get some assistance. Fraser is coming past. This should be Caroline's territory to push the watts per kilo up here. And the go has got on the climb, and that is mean. So we're already into the final sections of the climb, and Russ has hit the button. So here we go, we're in the go zone. We're on the aqueduct on the way past. It is flat out. Look how strung out it is as we go up over the top here. You can see everybody working to get into the front group at the moment. This is absolutely brutal. You can see it's absolutely snowing down confetti. That means that if we pull up the heads up display, yeah, there is one after the other. Riders getting personal best times, fastest times on the way through. Now let's jump back in with Russ here. He's in that leading group, but you can see if we take a little bit of a look over his shoulder, it is absolutely blown to pieces. It is going to be a dot to dot of riders back up onto the climb here. Now Russell working to get himself back into this leading group. He's sat in here. ADH leading through Herring, Mason, Coleman in there. So you've got Mason in the red and black. You've got Herring in the grey. Looks like the riders in. Shelley Charles is in there in the black kit. And, looks like Kieran Brown making it in the colours of Sherpies. That's in the green jersey on his way through there. It's looking absolutely flat out now. Look at the paces at 60 kph nearly, as everybody wants to be in with the leading group. We've got a long way to go to the finish. Remember, the finish is going to come at about 48k, and it really is a case of oil in the bin, and it has exploded behind. So group number one is this group with Mason just on the front at the minute. So group one being just distanced a little bit by Mason. Mason's gone early here. He's at 5 watts per kilo. Then Connolly's coming, and then Brown is coming. It looks like ADH picking up the pace. Russ at the back of this group at the moment as they come down into town. They've got a quick flick through town, but certainly it looks to me like this group are absolutely flying at the moment. So in towards the green of the pavement, but they are not going to bother contesting this surely, because they've got a long way to go. Remember, it is a pretty much 40k of flat to come now, and the pressure is on as we come through town underneath the gantry. Looks like that group have got a little bit of a gap. It's only going to be about 5 seconds to the chasing group behind. Let's pull up some stats which are going to show us just how quick everyone's going. It looks to me like Russ Downey is pushing on against 650 watts. He certainly is. So Russ may be going for the long one here. He waited until they'd gone through the speed. Now he's at 10 watts a kilo, and the chase is on from Herring on the way through. So it is looking pretty brutal. They've got to get all the way to the marina sprint. It's a long way away, and look at the pressure on the riders. You can see there is power up after power up coming from the riders behind. Kieran Brown getting onto the wheels of Russ here. Will he go straight past him? I think he has here. The question is, has he got enough to keep pushing on home? It looks like Coleman has recognised the danger of seeing Brown go clear. Coleman in the blue, a white and black kit there. Now chasing after Sherwood Pines, a rider. That is going to be Brown in the front. So Kieran Brown in the green, white and black. That's the Sherwood Pines colours. Then it's Coleman in 2. It's going to be Conley in 3. Conley using that aero boost to get the drag cut down behind the riders. It's not going to help. There's nobody in front of him. Then it's going to be Mason. Then it's Dench. Then Herring. Then it's going to be Genther, Childs, Simonite, Downing. And then it's going to be a gap back, 12 seconds back to Simon. Run it in group number 2. So this is the second group on the road. Richardson, Run It, Canham, Halls, Crosscast, Neil, Taylor, Saysal, Dubash is in there. Looks like pretty much that group's managing to hold together. It's a big pack here. It's got Fraser in here, Osman. It's got Callaway. It's got Clark. It's got Noel in there. So if we just jump up with the helicopter, let's see if we can do it with the drone. We just want to get a good idea of the numbers in this pack here. This is group 2. This is a big chasing group. The question is, although they've got the numbers, have they got the firepower to close down on the group in front of that gap at the moment? It's up to 20 seconds now between them and the riders in front. That's a big ask, and this is going to be a big punishment from these guys if they can't break it up. We drop back a bit further, another 20 seconds or so behind. This is going to be Bobby Mason in here. We've got Carl Johnson, I think Tom Lindley in here, John Finney in the group. So like Mike Killsworth Coleman in this group as well. So this is group number 3. So group 1 flying, group 2 working well, group 3 trying to chase. Group number 4 is going to be this group. This is the Davis. It's going to be Richard Trolley. It's going to be Briggs. I think we're going to have a Cannon chasing us. So it's going to be about 3 or 4, 5 riders in here. Stevens in this. And then behind then it's going to be Epworth, Bolts, then a bit further back it's going to be Mansfield and Derby. It is a real fight behind our main leaders here, because you can see their gaps are opening up again and they're starting to extend. Group 2 chasing hard, but Group 1 still holding a good 15 to 16 second lead from the chasers behind. So here they come, running in with AD Dench on the front of the group at the moment. And this is where you've got to get the pacing right. You want to put enough pace down to distance the groups behind. You don't want to do too much work so you're not able to respond to any late attacks, or to be able to sprint and not use up too much energy in those muscles. 16 seconds gap now. And the chase behind being led by Run It and Gritty's Crosscast. Neil here, they can see the yellow beacon in front. Look at this, they are in sight of the yellow beacon on the long straights. They're not letting that gap go too much. It's still only 17 seconds. It's the same level of gap that we saw pretty much from our 3 breakaway riders at Otley last night. Well, guess what? It's being replicated here on the Chaingang. That 16, 17 second gap still holding at the moment. That leading the group are pretty much together as a block, and again he goes. So it looks like Russ has gone here. He's put another big dig in here, attack after attack, to try and shake out some of the big sprinters in the group to make them work and use their legs up here. This is going to be tough stuff. This is really hard to stay clear of everybody else. And Russ and Kieran Brown have gone clear. Now Genther is responding to this. He wants to close this down now. This is where things get fun, and this is why we keep the jerseys just for Downing safe and coach riders. So you've got Russ Downing in that grey and green kit. Then in the grey and green you've got Herring, and in the grey and green you've got Genther. Mason goes past now. Downing tucks in on the wheels of the riders. They start to close those gaps back down again. It's Herring on the front. Genther in wheel 3 with AD Dench, the red jam sandwich in that bite and beer kit. But you can see at the moment everybody keeping the pace high enough to try and stop the attacks from coming, but Russ keeps on attacking. Kieran Brown goes with him. Kieran, I think, will want this to come down to something other than a sprint. The gap now opening into the group behind it. It looks like Callum is at 22 seconds. Still the beacon is in sight. This is a massive fight. These guys all work together. Group 2, come on guys. You can get there. This is doable. There's a much bigger Group 2 than there is on Group 1. It's almost double the size of Group 1. So whilst you might not have the individual firepower, there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 riders in this. If I've got my maths right, we've got a group of 10 riders versus this huge group here being led out by Fraser. So once we get that camera up again, let's take a look. This is going to be a big push, but remember this is a massive group behind it. It looks like they show 1 or 2 people, so Group 2 need to push on. Downing is sat in with this group. He's just used an aero power up here, and I think that shows, yeah, we've got an attack. So he put the aero power up to get a drag through the group there. He's gone after Kieran Brown. Is he going to go straight over the top of him? He has here, so look at this. Downing's gone again. He's gone over the top now. Who's going to respond to this? Herring has got to answer this. He's not able to kick out the numbers into the red zone. Looks like Kieran Brown working well behind Russ here. Simonite's putting in a big turn here. I think Simonite is going to help close this gap back down again. He's on the front of the pack. Is he going to get any assistance? I think Coleman's just coming up on his shoulder now. Genther again. Another good ride by Genther. It is a week in, week out. This man is getting better and better. Well, look at the pace on the front. These constant attacks are starting to take their toll. It looks to me like Connolly's gone. Connolly was right in there. He's drifting backwards. He's going to get caught by the group behind there at 20 seconds. You can't quite see him. So Connolly off the back of Group 1 now. Shelley Charles distance from Group 1. Adi Dench distance from Group 1. And he's got to work hard now. He's 3 seconds off the back of this group. And you can see they're in 1s and 2s behind the group. Can Dench get back on again? Remember, this is the man who rode the jog not all that long ago, but has ridden the jog in the virtual world. So Russ on the attack here. You can see Russ starting to open it up. He's got a gap, and again riders starting to go. Any chance of Dench getting on the group has gone out of the window. He's now 3 seconds behind the main group and 5 seconds behind Downing. Downing has a gap of 1 second on Mason. It's hardly anything at the moment. Genther's chasing as well here. Everybody is absolutely motored, and Genther's just putting a massive kick here. He's on to Rusty's wheel, and who is going to be the victim of this counter attack? It's moved back up again. Well, it looks to me like it is Coleman who's having to work hard. Adi Dench now at 9 seconds. He's absolutely pulling the pin, Russ, and he keeps on smashing it apart. Now it's Genther's turn to go on the offensive, so Genther goes over the top. These riders are fighting so hard already. He's leaving casualties everywhere. Remember, behind Genther it's then Herring, and then it's Mason, the fat cyclist, then Brown, then Downing. Downing now on the big kick to pull himself back in with the group. You can just see putting little dig to pull himself across. They've dropped Simonite, but Simonite is working hard here. He's at 4.7 watts per kilo, 316 watts, 350 watts coming out here, nearly at 5 watts per kilo. Trying to get onto the back wheel of Genther here. Another entertaining night here on the Donny Chaingang with me and Matt Payne, and you can just see how much damage is being done behind. And I think Coleman distanced here by the pace on the group. Dench has gone as well. Charles has gone. Connolly has gone. And Connolly is going to see this group coming. Here they come. They're on his heels now. They're going to sweep him up. He's going to have the pace left to jump back in with him. So Group 2 doing a very effective job of catching rider after rider as they come along the straight. So you can see the next rider in their sights is Shelley Childs here. So Childs at the moment is looking slight to me that Shelley Childs is going to be the next rider pulled into this group. Then in front you've got Coleman and Dench together. But look at this, it's a bit like Jaws at the moment. The group are coming and they are closing the gaps down. But as we weave on and around, time is running out. 46.4k. We're going to go over the bridge and then back into town, and then we are going to be on that horrible finish with that long sweeping turn and that almost invisible gantry. So In goes Shelley Charles into the group. Next victim for the group 2 who are chasing is going to be this one. It's 80 Dench. Dench has got Coleman in front, and we're just taking a look behind. Can't see that chasing group. It's at 13 seconds now. They're coming so quickly. But this is the leaders. Kieran Brown, Russ Downing, Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, and Downing has gone again. He's gone again. He's not letting them rest at all. This is kick after kick after kick. The bear is growling today. Somebody must have poked him really hard today, because he is on the offensive. He's got a gap. He's opening up, takes a quick micro rest there. Just eases off the pedals. He's got a gap of 2 seconds. He won't want to go all on his own, but this is Kieran Brown. Brown is trying to come across. He's almost onto the heels here of Downing. Here he comes. So Kieran Brown is right up, and he sweeps past Downing here. Downing's going to be taken back into the fold here, and it's going to be Mason, the next one. Look at this. This is a counter attack by Mason. Mason's got on the counter attack. Classic textbook move there by Mason. Over the top. Brown catches back Downing after that attack, and Mason has gone here. He's gone hard. Has he got the gap? 4 seconds now and counting. He's opened it up on the man from Pines here. So if we take a look at Mason's heart rate 189 beats per minute. This is what the big man can do. He's got the bit between his teeth, and he is off down that road. Herring is chasing here. Kieran Brown is chasing. Craig Genther is chasing as well. But can they do anything now about the fat cyclist? Was the man expected to take it into the sprint? It's not going to happen this time, I don't think, because he's already well into town. Looks like Simonite now struggling to make the catch of the chasers. But look at the gap that Mason has got here. He has taken the race by the scruff of the neck, and he has absolutely ragged it apart. The group behind have got to pull back this man, and it's time for him to pull back on his ground. Mason is going to be the sprint king here once again, but he doesn't need to sprint. He's a great all-round rider, and you're seeing him give it to the rest of the Chaingang. This is the long sweeping left-hand turn. He's starting onto it. The Marina's going to open up, and he hasn't got far to go. Remember, it's 340 metres from when he hits the green banner. Where are the chasers behind? They're coming, but they're not coming fast enough. Genther can see him. He's tantalisingly in front. And I don't think Henry's got the power to do this. Downing's not all that far behind, but look at Mason. He's got the gap. I think he's going to be able to take this to the finish, but Genther puts in another dig here. Another 9 watts per kilo from Genther, 10 watts from Herring. Over the line it goes, 350 metres, soon to be 300. So here we go. This is the countdown into the finishing line. It's just around that right-hand turn. You can just see the gantry on the 3D map at the side here, and I think Mason is likely to take this. Here comes the gantry. You can just see it coming into sight, and nobody is in sight. It's going to be Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, the man to do it. Does it under pressure behind. It's going to be incredibly close between Genther. Then it's Herring in third place. Downing, I think, coming across to take fourth. It's Simonite in fifth. Kieran Brown in sixth. Then we've got a long way back, and this is going to be one heck of a sprint. So our top 6 riders in, but look at the size of this group. It's absolutely huge. You've got to be so glad that you are not sat in this for the bunch sprint, because it is motoring now. 80 Dench, after being dropped out, makes his way up onto the front. He's gone too early with 300 metres to go. Dench trying to keep the pace high. He's opened up the gap, but Coleman is coming hard here. Coleman's coming in the blue and white. Coleman's going to come over the top. Is he going to be able to hold him around the corner? Look at him go. It's going to be Coleman is going to take this, and Dench is swept aside. Coleman goes through. It's going to be a Coleman, then Canham, then Fraser, and then I think it's Neil from the Crosscast. I hope you guys were watching to know where you were. That was incredibly quick. Look at the size of the group that's just come in and over the line. Absolutely everybody are nailing that run in and through the finish. We're just dropping back. We're just going to try and get to the right groups here. Little tricky because the screen will jump us about here. So it's storming right by Mason. I think this is group 3 on the road. We're just taking a look on the screens here. Nobody in between. So group 1 came in that sprint for the finish. Group 2 then came through, absolutely nailing it. into the finish. That fantastic sprint. Now this is group number 3. Anyone going for the long one? Anybody fancy it from this distance out? Soon going to find out. Here we go. Looks like they're just about to close in on I think it's Coleman just up the road here. So Coleman being closed down by this group. Wow, what a finish. That was some awesome riding on the way through. I don't think excitement is what my voice needs after today, but that was a great finish. Now looks like Mr. Lindley's on for this one. 340 meters as he comes over, takes the lead, puts in the power. And Tom, you need to hit it early because that's not going to work. So here we go. Just has the man got the power? I think he has. Young Tom Lindley coming in towards the corner. He's round that bend. You can see the riders behind working to close him down, but Lindley is going to take this out of the group. So it's going to be Lindley, then Donahue comes through, Johnson, Beefy, Coleman, I think Ball and Samuel coming through. Ian Taylor coming in with this group. I think I've just seen a huge number of riders absolutely flying through that finish. Apologies if we are jumping beyond your group. We'll get back as fast as we can to our riders coming in to the finish. So we're just going to jump in with Sonia Inslee here. I think everybody else out on the road is through the finishing line and slowly on the climb back up. And Sonia is going to be our next rider into the finish. You can hold off this bunch, but they've come back onto her very quickly indeed. So Inslee really on a good vein of form at the moment, and just see Davies come over the top. So Davies comes over the top as they come into the finish of the stage 2 of the Tour de France tribute here on the Donny Chaingang. Inslee leading this out, Davies in position 2, then Briggs currently in 3, Stevens in 4, Crawley in 5 at the moment. Let's have a little bit of a check on who's got the power, who's going to put the kick in first. Will it be Crawley? Just seen Davis putting in a power up here. Briggs is in this group as well. Stevens in the blue, currently riding in with Davis. I think Sonia is likely to be the first of our female finishers, but you know what? Sonia's not going to have it all her own way. She is a class sprint act when it comes to it. She's got the aero. She's winding it up nice and steadily. This is going to be a classic Clancy sprint here. Just sat and winding it and powering it. Davis is trying to respond to this. Sonia sees the line, puts in that final kick. Good pacing there. So it's Inslee, then Crawley, then Davis, then Briggs, and then Stevens coming through the line. Great riding. We're going to drop across to Cannon, who I think is our next rider on the course, approaching the finishing line. Behind, I think, is Hayward, but Hayward has a gap at the moment. So Cannon are going to be our next riders on the way through, and Rush to say he's going to take his 54 Chainring off for the ride on Thursday. And do you know what? The gang needs some serious firepower, and that's exactly what we're getting. So Cannon goes through to the next rider. Come through the finishing line here. Then it's going to be Hayward chasing to the line. Then Kerr comes through. Darby sprinting in towards the line here. Looks like he and Foden have had a right old battle on the way in. Martin Bolt on his way through the finishing corner. Half that final corner, a little bit safer than the final corner that people were feeling in. Otley, then it's going to be Chris and Darby, just keeping a check. Sean Ferron's going to be our next rider in, just ahead of Caroline Mansfield. Caroline, of course, from Gritty, responsible for the Gritty Sustainable Clothing brand sportswear. So through the line goes Ferron, and next in is going to be Caroline. So Caroline pushing to the line here, and 162 watts. A great riding by Caroline Mansfield. We're going to drop back next. I think we've still got Mr. Scullen out on the cross. The next rider, I think, going to be approaching the line. So let's jump across to the one and only Yellow Beacon. Let's see if we can get hold of Russ. How are you doing, Russ? Are you in one piece?
I'm glad I'm sat down.
I'm not surprised. That looked absolutely vicious.
I was good fun with it. You know, you've got to take the sprinters to the line with less energy. And I think Gareth owes me a beer there. He just went over the top of the last and final attack, and everyone was nailed, so they couldn't hold him. And yeah, it was great fun.
Attack after attack after attack. Lots of people having a go. Lots of people having a dig on the way through into the finish. That chasing group behind. I mean, Group 2 was swallowing up rider after rider after rider. And it was a big group. It held that gap down really, really well. Sometimes on the rise we see Group 2 coming in minutes and minutes and minutes behind, but it was only a very, very short period of time behind for Group 2, and the same with the groups behind. There's been some really strong riding tonight.
Yeah, so that's the bit we love on the DCG, you know. There's only a handful of people can absolutely dig that deep where we're going up the front like that, but the second and third group was just, like I said, picking riders up, and it was moving so fast and working together, which that's what Chaingang's about. It's not about riding off the front like us clowns who don't do that when the go gets called.
Well, the Chaingang tonight I thought was absolutely superb, and we've got a period now where we are rolling in through the tour. We are 2 stages done, 4 stages to go, so this is the end of week 1 from the Donny Chaingang point of view. Favourite moments so far this week? What's really stood out for you?
I really enjoyed the prologue. You know, it's something totally different. We were both excited, nervous, and like I said, football was on, and we still got like nearly 80 people doing it, and it was great. It's something totally different, and it shows that, you know, we're not just sticking still on the DCG. We're actually moving it on and thinking different things to do. And like I said, the next 3 weeks are going to be so much fun. I said fun. I don't like going up Alpe d'Huez and La Rennes, but yeah, well, enjoy it. I will change my gearing for that.
I should think you will, and thank you everyone who's watching. If you are watching this back, there we go. You have the same info that the members have there, because Russ just giving you a little bit of a heads up where our mountain stages are. We have a transfer stage in between, and of course the final stage in Paris. So 2 great weeks come. For me, the highlight has been the groups working together today to bring everybody back in, and the attacking riding. Everyone who's seen me at a live event or on or watching bike racing at any point will know I love that attacking. To see the attacking riding after what was a fantastic group ride. Perfect, brilliant, and that and the pictures. So don't forget, guys, make sure you get them up. The thread is open on the Facebook page. You can go on and put them on. All you need to do is search for Stage 2 photos in the Donny Chaingang Facebook page. If you're a member of the Facebook page, get them on there. If you are a member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang, if we've given you admittance into that for donating, then make sure you do that. Every single stage, if you ride all 6, you're going to be in with some great prizes, and great news from that some of our long-time supporters like Pretty Gritty, which is now Gritty, and of course in of 1080 donating some spot prizes and some prizes for all the riders as well. So here we go. Next rider's on his way in. I think, Russ, we've got 2 riders on. Of course, Andy Scotland, who had dropouts. Andy's a strong rider normally. Just on that last push, it's got to be lonely on your own, which you've been dropped off the group.
Yeah, I had a panic on there at the start. I thought that was going to be me for the whole ride, but I don't know what happened. I was in the pen, and then it went to send me somewhere else, and proper flip, and I had a bit of a panic on, actually. I thought I was going to miss one for once. Well,
not to be sorry, mate. It looks like you could be well in with a chance of completing all 6, so you better do, mate. I'm going to be here for all 6, so are you. Then we're going to run in after the end of the tour as Scotland comes round this final corner. We've got some great stuff coming up at the end of the tour, haven't we? And there's going to be a couple of quiet weeks after the tour, and then we're back into August and September, and it is due to go pretty nuts, I think.
Yeah, why not? You know, it's the DCG after all, so yeah, I think a bit of a calm down after the tour. You know, everyone likes a rest after a 3-week grand tour. Let's say I didn't when I rode the Giro. They shipped me off to Holland, I think, the next week, and but that's a different story. But yeah, we're gonna have a little break. Not a break from the DCG, but just chill it out a bit and tap out the numbers. And then,
Well, I'm leaving the route choice to you, mate, for those 2 weeks, totally in your hands post tour, going into between the end of the 3 weeks of the tour. So that's going to be 4 routes, and don't blame me, folks, if it goes up a big mountain, it's pancake flat, or it's super short or super long. All Rusty's fault for the
suggestions on a postcard, please.
Yeah, get them on there, get them sent in to Russ. I'm having, I'm done with my brain power. It's pretty burnt out because this is a really busy period for me. So when we get to the end of the tour, I'm going to be disappearing for a couple of weeks as well, and I've got national champs in between in those 2 weeks somewhere as well. Not riding, of course, but yeah, more talking. So Jim Flynn on his way in. Russ, I hope you're heading to go get something cold like a beer.
Chance to be a fine thing. I'm doing dry week, I think.
Oh, mate, bad news. Unlucky. In that case, I'll have a cold beer for you instead. I'll leave you with the OTE recovery, and I'll jump back in with Jim. Thanks, Russ.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
So great to catch up with Russ as Jim makes his way in. He's now on the side of the marina here. So looks like Jim on his way in to the marina side. You'll just see the boats in the harbour, and just going to go a little bit round the corner. You can just see the road bending around to the left, and Jim riding well here into the finish. So Jim Flynn going to come in and through to round off stage number 2, and unlike the coverage of the main Tour de France, our Tour de France tribute, well, we cover everybody as we always do on the Donny Chaingang. The Chaingang is here for the many, and that's exactly what we're getting. We are still getting lots and lots of riders. A massive thank you for riding if you have ridden. A massive thank you if you have donated. If you're a member and been accepted into the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, even better. We'd love our supporters club. And as Jim makes his way into the straight here, you can just see coming in and through the line, he's just got his warm down to do, just over a K of warm down. So as we follow Jim in towards his warm down, I want to say a massive thank you to you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel, because we then notify you every time we go live. If you're a member of the DCG gang, then if you're accepted as a member, you will get all of the links sent to you to become a member. To apply them, basically you need to donate either monthly or for the year. You've got loads of packages on there. Make sure you go onto the website or the Facebook page. And the last but not least, a quick reminder, make sure you get those pictures on the Facebook thread, guys. We love seeing the pictures after the finishing line, so make sure you get those up on to the thread. From me, Matt Payne, it's been a pleasure putting words to the action. Time to hit the titles, and it's a cold bath brewing beer for me to end week 1 on the Donny Chaingang.